Well, they closed down the mill and they closed down the mine. They said you can't work but pay your taxes on time. Got 3 little babies gonna starve to death or freeze. We started making white lightning, it was Grandpa's recipe. Run, rebel, run to nowhere. Run, rebel, run to the Scott County Jail.
Hey everybody, happy Thursday night. I can't believe we're almost here coming close to the end to February. Yeah, so Chris and I, we're here at different places tonight, but we are live here on the Jailhouse Informant video podcast, and I'm excited because it's probably my second favorite of the series that we do with where we're reviewing different evidence from different captures that's happened there at the historic Scott County Jail.
Yeah. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I do love this series a lot as well. But, as most everybody in the chat knows, a few months ago, we moved up here to the bank building. So we have our gift shop here. This is where Sally stays now. We do all of our ticketing here. So we used to spend a lot of time in the jail, but now most of our time is spent here unless we have a tour. And I think maybe our spirits are a little upset at that or something. But the last few teams that have come into the jail have gotten some very cool unexplained captures, and even you on your live last week got some really cool unexplained things. So I'm excited to go through these and share it with everybody.
Well, maybe one of the things that it could be, I think they're probably on her throne, probably upset, but I wonder if it's the energy from the teams where we're not on site, almost maybe a little bit of a heightened sense of I don't want to say fear, but a different feeling that maybe they have that they're bringing out whenever they're at these at their investigation there.
Yeah, I think that could definitely be the case. Also, the teams that that have been coming in have been great teams, like the team we had on Saturday, right? A lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of fun. The Tennessee Shadow Chasers, they actually celebrated a birthday, and we're very jovial. And I think, as you know, and we've said on here numerous times, that our jail really responds to those type of investigators. So, there's so many other things that we could share. We picked out some highlights that we're going to share with y'all tonight, but there's so many others that we're going to be sharing on future episodes if they did time, because it's just a lot right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Please send us in some of your different evidence that if you've captured something here at the jail. We're not just highlighting current teams. We're also going to be highlighting some that of our very early on teams that we've got evidence from. It's so much fun when they send us the stuff and then just hearing the stories about the things that they've experienced when they're here.
Yeah. So, like I said, one of the teams we'll be highlighting tonight, they sent us several clips, but they also told you several things when you were closing up on Saturday night about what had happened. So, I'm excited. And, to Bob's question, I wonder if they miss Sally. I think they do. We take her down there every now and then, because she is the jail cat, so she has to go to the jail at some point to legitimize the title. But we take her down there every now and then, and I think she does. I think they miss her. She misses being over there, and I think they really did respond to her.
Yeah, I think so. And we're hello. Want to go ahead and say hello real quickly to everyone that's over here in the chat room. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. We do suggest you put headphones on whenever we get to some of these. Some of them you can clearly hear without headphones, but it's definitely going to enhance your experience. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put those over there in the comment section, and we will pull them up. If you don't mind, put them in all caps. That just makes it a little bit easier because we know there's a lot of conversation going on over here. We want to make sure that we don't miss you.
Yeah. But again, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Hope you're staying warm wherever you're at. We're a balmy, I think 9 degrees now, so it's definitely cold right now. But I think this is going to be really fun. I'm excited. Are we going to jump right into it, or do we have anything we need to
Let's kind of talk just a little bit about, we had our Valentine's tours
that's right. Yeah,
this past week. That was something. Let me see if I can pull this up here.
Yeah, these were a lot of fun. We had one at the jail, the Partners in Crime tour there at the jail that Miranda led. So you could either purchase Bonnie and Clyde tickets or Thelma and Louise tickets. And so she had a great turnout for that. It was a lot of fun. And then unfortunately, rugby, we did have a very hardy couple show up, but we just had severe weather that weekend. So it was really tough. But we did have a hardy group show up. So yeah, that's the jail, all the nice candles that Miranda had lit for the Partners in Crime tour. It looked really
it looked great. And it was just one little section of the jail. I think there was about 60 of those little candles.
Yeah, we had them all around
the entire jail. And you got a special little gift pack whenever you came. Those are our inmate inspired roses that for all the beautiful ladies that joined us on the tour, and these are actually made out of plastic spoons.
Yeah,
go ahead.
One right here. They're actually really cool. It's kind of hard to see them, but Miranda made these out of spoons, and she did a dang fine job. It's kind of hard to translate over the camera, but it makes a really fun little Valentine's Day gift for a partner in crime tour. It's really fun.
Yeah, and so and they also got those I thought they were really cool. I can remember in elementary school when we would have the best friend necklaces or the Thelma and Louise necklace where one person got the split heart.
Yeah.
And so we had partner in crime keychains that you got plus some chocolates on this one, and it was really cool, a good addition. And we think because it was so popular, we're talking about adding this as an option to our flashlight tour. Whenever you come in and book just a standard flashlight tour, you can kind of upgrade your tickets and make this a date or a best friend experience where you'll get your little keychain, you'll get your rose, and you can kind of add a little something special to the night.
Yeah, definitely a lot of fun. And like I said, rugby was really cool. We just had one couple that took advantage of that tour because it was just, the night was so bad. It was just a high winds, just a rainy night.
Well, we had to cancel the second night too.
Saturday. So, but we did have a couple show up. They're very great. They're a very sweet couple. Took the tour, loved the tour, and we kind of did the same thing. We had a little gift bag for you, filled with all things that would have been Victorian Valentines. So a piece of lace and some perfume and some chocolates and a little mirror that they would put on their Victorian Valentine Day cards and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. We had a good time with it. So maybe something that we think about doing later on.
Yeah, and we'll be posting the pictures from that. I was trying to pull up the picture here from, let's see here, from Chris's tour. What we did was Chris had a really nice area set up there in the library, and took a photo, and then we added, let me pull Nancy's comment down there, and so we designed a fun little border for the souvenir border for them to print if they want. We also did a souvenir border of booking shots there at the jail. So just something kind of a little fun and different. Chris's tour was really cool because she really tailored it to the Valentine's season and to the Victorian era. So I just love the idea. That was a really great thing to incorporate there at rugby to make it just a little bit different.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so another little piece of news here. Let me double check my list here. Because of the cold temperatures, we are thinking, Chris and I have been kind of talking this over. We are thinking about closing for the day tours tomorrow. I think it's supposed to be 6 degrees in the morning, and that wind chill today was 10 degrees below what the normal temperature was. So it's going to be -0 something with the wind chill in the morning, I
Yeah,
think.
it was rough today.
Yeah, and so so I think that we're probably going to close. What do you think about closing
Yeah,
tomorrow during the day?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we do have a team that's doing the investigation tomorrow night. It's supposed to get up in the 30s in the afternoon. So we will have the jail warm and ready for them for their Friday and Saturday night investigation, taking advantage of a 2-night. But if you are planning to make a trip during the day tomorrow, we will be closed, but back to open as business as usual on Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m.
Yep.
And also, extended overnights. We still have those, and we're offering those through March 9th, where you can book your investigation, 6.5 hour investigation for the price, or excuse me, you get an 8.5 hour investigation for the price of a 6.5 hour investigation. I think we have a few dates open. We got about 2 weeks left
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks, something. So, so if you want to take advantage of those extended night investigations, go to our website, historicscottcogel.com, and you can go in, you can book that and take advantage. And we're offering that every single night of the week. So,
Yep. Sally being obnoxious over here.
and we are talking about, Chris and I are still kind of working this out. And we don't want to really say a whole lot until we know more, but we get a lot of people asking us questions. Because the jail and Rugby are so close to each other, they're only 20 miles apart. They ask us if you book both, do you get a discount? That sort of thing. We're trying to do what we can to incentivize that. It's really hard for us to offer a actual monetary discount
Yeah,
on those investigations because those are two separate locations.
yeah,
We typically don't have a problem booking them out, and also the money for the investigation is what goes to pay the bills for the jail as well as to Rugby. So we are looking at options, possibly adding extra time and such if you book at the jail and at Rugby and make it a weekend. We hope to maybe have those details on that worked out maybe by next week.
yeah,
Because once
yeah.
we work the details out, I've got to figure out how to place that into the booking system so that people can actually book it and make it work. And the logistics take a little bit of time. But if that's something people would be interested in, that's something that we're definitely looking at doing.
Yeah, and for larger teams as well. So we're talking about some other things too. We have several people that have reached out, can we bring 12, 13, 14 people? And it's just not feasible at these locations. So if you're able to work it into a split and go to Rugby and the jail for a weekend, that's something that we're going to be looking into. As Miranda said, try to incentivize those larger groups to come as well. But we definitely want to work with you if you do have larger groups, and stay tuned for some information on how you can do that.
Yeah. And James is asking about the damage on the jail roof. It's been such a weird weather week.
Yeah.
We did have extreme rain and flooding early on this week before the snow came. And so we are working on with the mayor to get that fixed.
Yeah, we had a little bit of water inside. So, but hopefully Huntsville will have some men out there in the next week or so once the weather turns warm and get that all patched up, and she'll be good to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's all I've got. I know we've got events and all kinds of things that we've been working on this. Going to be opening back up on our regular schedule going into March, maybe doing a grand reopening at some point in March as well to incorporate the bank building and new exhibits and such. But otherwise, I say we go ahead and get to our investigators.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a lot of fun. And we will tell you before the clip if you need to put on headphones or not. So pay attention to that. We don't want to be blasting anybody out of their chair. But what's the first one we have on here?
Okay, so I'm going to actually pull up, because I want to pull up the team's pictures, because again, we really like highlighting our teams, because without the content creators and stuff and putting these videos out, we wouldn't know. I mean, so we're, like I said, we're really glad when people share. So this first team that I'm going to pull up tonight, this is actually pretty much everyone on the list tonight are a group of repeat offenders, if you will, have been here. This team, Paranormal Answers, they actually just did an investigation back on February 8th, so 2 weeks ago, or a few days ago. They were here, and I believe that several members of the team have investigated the jail on 3 different occasions, and several members have investigated it twice. And so these 2 clips that I'm going to play here in just a second, those actually come from their investigation that they did back in October. They brought us the USB card that had everything on it. The first one, so this was a static camera that was set up. They were all up on the 3rd floor. And as they were doing a session in front of Big Roy's cell over in the state cell, they heard a scream come from down the hall, male scream. Anything?
No, I think that's good. So I'd put your headphones on. I'd put your headphones on for this one if you have them.
Yeah, so we're going to pull it up, and what you're going to hear is you're going to hear them talking, and then you will hear a male scream in the background. It sounds like it's coming from down in the solitary area. I think I've got some noise interference here. Did you hear that, Chris?
No, it looks like it's freezing.
Okay, let's see if it'll do that.
Yeah, it happened at 9:08 on the countdown here. If you want to just back it up just a little bit.
I was going to say, I'm not hearing anything. This is really strange.
Yeah, it's not as loud as it was when I heard it before for some reason.
Let me make sure this is the correct one here.
I'm going to say hi to Linda. Thanks for joining us for the first time. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, you can hear it. You can hear it. It's not as loud as it was, but I mean, you can hear it at 9. If you look at the countdown clock there, it happened at 9:08. Did anybody else in the chat room hear that?
Let me see something with that. I apologize. It's I want to make sure. Because I'm hearing, is there like a radio on there, Chris?
There is, but I've been muting my mic. Let me turn this off. Hold on.
Okay. Or just turn it down there.
Okay.
Okay. Let me play the other one right quick. It's like I said, I'm not sure why that one. When We may go back to that one in a minute. This next one is, there we go. This next one, they were up on the 3rd floor, and they hear something that sounds like somebody running up the stairs. So let me.
The class? Who's going up the steps? That wasn't you. That happened way before you got down. Okay, they are on the island.
Yeah, it's at so it's at 10:58. 13:10:58 is when it happens.
Yeah. So what I like about that one is the fact that you can see them all sitting there. There's nobody coming up the stairs, and you actually hear him say that you hear him come up the stairs. He goes over, checks, and he says that he actually heard the scream.
Yeah.
So, and I was just looking at the comments here. I know a lot of folks are saying that some of them heard it, and some couldn't hear it. So thank you all for confirming. I'm gonna play that one again real quick.
Yeah, so listen at 10:58. So 13:10:58.
The class? Who's going up the steps? That wasn't you. That happened way before you got down.
Yeah, and that's wild because we get footsteps in the jail constantly, whether it's on the back stairs or on the jailer's walk. That's something that we've heard personally, we've been able to capture personally, and other teams has captured as well. So to hear those steps thunder up the stairs is pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And welcome, Linda. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, Ronnie makes a good point right here. He said they had the same thing happen at rugby to them. A voice was there and then it wasn't. It's really weird. Like, I'm not hearing it at all. But I know the one I sent you, I was hearing it, but I got all of a sudden when I started to play it, I got some type of interference, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I could hear on the first clip, I could hear the scream. It was definitely not as loud as when you sent it to me when we clipped it. So, yeah, Bob, it definitely creepy when you hear footsteps running through the building and you know that nobody's there. Whether you hear them up above you or on the same floor that you're on, it's pretty wild. I can honestly say that of all the places that I've investigated, I've never heard footsteps as clear and distinct as these are that come through our jail.
Yeah. And it is interesting because they're metal and you can almost hear like the metal clanging, echoing, which is pretty wild. Okay. So I think the next one, how about we do the guided ghost hunt?
All right. Yeah, I like that idea.
I know that one's a little bit longer. And we also have one of the folks here in the chat room that experienced that. April Lau and her good friend Lisa were here. They took advantage of our daytime guided ghost hunt. And what I really love about this is this just goes to show we get just as much activity during the day as we do at night. And the activity sometimes is a little bit different depending on the day and the time that you get it. And it just so happened that this investigation took place on a Sunday, midday, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
And this is a very interesting clip because we've got a cell up on our 3rd floor that we refer to as Roy's cell. And so we've discovered that all female teams seem to have different activity when they're in the proximity or inside of Roy's cell. He seems to really enjoy women being there, not so much men. And based on the questions that we've been asking and just the way he interacts with women, we've surmised that he was in the jail for some type of crime against women or a woman. So we generally ask him questions about that. So to set this up just a little bit, there were four of us, Miranda, myself, and Lisa and April, two of our biggest fans. We were sitting outside of Roy's cell. We had a K2 meter in Roy's cell. So we're probably about 7 to 8 feet away from this K2 meter. And you'll see it as I'm filming. You'll see I zoom out to show you how far away we are from this, and then I'll zoom back in on it. But we were asking questions related to his time in incarceration. Now, April was also holding an ovilus, which started saying some interesting words before I started filming. And it was saying things like leg and some different, sacrifice. So these are some of the words that were coming through the ovilus. So we started trying to see if a Bible verse would work, because April mentioned, did you find salvation while you were in jail? The K2 went off again. This was before I started filming. And so it mentioned, we kind of surmised that salvation was something that he found inside the jail. So we started asking about Bible verses. So we went through the books of the Bible, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus. As soon as we hit Leviticus, the K2 meter starts going off. And then we said, okay, Leviticus chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. As soon as we hit 4, the K2 meter started going off. Okay, so now we're in Leviticus chapter 4, verse 1, 2, 3. By the time we got to 11, the K2 meter started going off. So the Bible verse, Leviticus 4, chapter 11, basically says if a person sins unintentionally, they should bring a bull to God as an offering for their sins. So we thought this was kind of interesting. So we started asking questions related to, were you incarcerated because you committed a crime against a woman, but you did it unintentionally? You didn't know it was a crime when you were doing it, i.e., we kind of surmised it was something where maybe he had relations with an underage woman, but did not know she was underage. So that's kind of how this sets up.
Yeah, and something that you didn't mention, the end of that verse is the bull's skin, flesh, head, legs, entrails, and dung should be taken outside the camp and burned. And it's interesting because we had gotten the legs, and there was something else that we had gotten there on the ovilus as well, that was mentioned, and that's a very common thing that happens there at the jail. We will get words from an ovilus that either in an article or in this case the Bible verse, that we get them before we look it up and see it there. So it's relatively spot on, and I feel like spot on with what we've experienced from Roy in the past. So so let me get this clip queued up. Let's see here. All right, so it's a little bit of a longer clip. It's about a 2-minute clip, but that's okay. But again, that gives that really sets it up really nice. Anything else that we've left out, Chris?
No, I think it'll kind of speak for itself once we listen to it and watch it. But this is really just a very cool visual clip.
Yeah.
Were you sent to court for your crime, for your alleged crime?
I'm going to stop that for a second, Chris. When I pull this up, I'm getting a hum, I think, from that light.
I've got my microphone on mute, so I'm not sure how you're picking that up.
I don't know. When you push it, it gets louder. I can hear
you. Am I still on mute?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm not talking. Maybe I'm not talking through my microphone. Hold on. Let me try this.
I'm gonna mute your mic. Okay. I don't know if you can hear me. I've muted your mic, and that stopped the hum. So I'll go ahead and start this now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Was it a jury trial? Or was it a judge trial?
Okay, so just to confirm, you thought that what you were doing was consensual, correct? Okay.
All three.
Thank you. So what you were doing was consensual. So you admit that something happened, correct? But you thought that it was a consensual thing. But you were found guilty anyway, so you were essentially wrongfully convicted, right? Wow.
Wow.
Thank
It's
you.
going
Thank
slow,
you.
too.
That was like almost all of them.
Thank you.
Roy, how many did you have to serve? A long time? I guess serving any time for a crime you didn't commit is a long time. Did you have to serve more than 5 years? Did you have to, now it depends on when this happened.
Roger. Spelled with a D.
Like Roger, like yes?
Roger, like R-O-D-J-E-R.
Wouldn't that be like Roger Captain or something?
All right, can you confirm again for us one more time that your verse, yeah, thank you. So the verse in Leviticus chapter 4, that is what you're telling us, correct?
Chapter 4, verse 11?
Leviticus chapter 4, verse 11, that's what means something to you, right? That's how we're supposed to understand that you were wrongfully convicted. Well,
Look at that. Did you serve more than 5 years for your alleged crime?
Drop. Let's see about being.
okay, so yes, everybody, I know the hum. I'm sorry, we have a light here that I think the bulb is going to go, so I just went ahead and unplugged that. But it's such an interesting clip, right? Because you can see how far back we're actually sitting from it, and the responses seem to be extremely intelligent. And that's kind of what we've been getting from that cell, where Roy thinks that we think he committed a crime against the woman, and he seems to be responsive to those questions. And so that to be able to put that verse to it, to kind of, communicate with him through the verse was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and he's been consistent really since we opened the doors at the jail.
Mhm.
Roy was one of the first spirits to talk to us.
Yeah.
And from what we've captured, from what other people have captured, he's been extremely consistent. And this just really fills in a lot of the pieces of the puzzle that we've been, I mean, it seemed like when we got off of that topic later on in the day, he didn't communicate with us anymore.
No, he kind of went silent. And we had 2 other K2 meters back there that also responded, not as consistently as the one on the bed, but on some, all 3 of them spiked, which was kind of wild.
Bill asks if a doll has ever been left in the cell overnight. We have not left one in there overnight. I don't know if a team has used one in there, but we will definitely, I'm up for giving it a try and see if we
I
get
think it'd be a lot
anything
of
from
fun.
it. Good suggestion. Definitely very good responses. As April says, the Ovilus was on a roll. The battery actually ended up dropping pretty quick after that. The battery
Yeah.
drained on it. Yeah, the Ovilus was every bit of the tools we used, and we used very few tools that day or during that session. They all seemed to be very spot on.
Yeah, it was a great investigation, and to your point earlier, it just goes to show that you can even have daytime investigations, and you get some great responses from the daytime investigations.
Yeah, and so if anyone wants to take advantage of one of those daytime investigations, we are still offering those during during our winter hours here every day except, I guess, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. And then who knows if any, when we get into our regular time, if somebody wants to take advantage of one of those, give us a call and we'll see what we can work out for you there.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead.
Real quick, if you want it, now that I'm going to get this mic situation figured out. But if you want to go back to that first clip with the scream, if you want to try that now that hum is out, that may work.
Let me just try that, because that was a really good one that was, for some weird reason, hard to hear. So let me pull that up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you much better.
Okay, that I went back over to the Yeti. For some reason, it kicked me off the mic. All right.
Okay. Yeah, you sound really good. I heard it that time much better. It is faint, but you can also hear one of the people that's sitting there say that they heard the scream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and just want to show this. Lisa says she would definitely do another daytime investigation.
Lisa,
And
you're awesome.
that's saying a lot, because Lisa's come and done quite a few of these
like
guided
everything
ghost
we've
hunts.
done. Yeah. Lisa and April are on it.
I got to say, for me and being on several of those guided ghost hunts with them, that experience that we had in Roy's cell was probably one of my favorite guided ghost hunt experiences that they've done. So
yeah, it was really cool. I enjoyed that a lot.
yeah, and so so this next team that we're gonna highlight, they were one that was actually here over the weekend, and as Chris said, they were doing a birthday celebration, and they've been a repeat offender as well. I think they've investigated the jail 3 different times, and maybe investigated historic rugby once, I think, with us.
Yeah, and they're just a great group of people. They come in with a very positive attitude, always so fun, always laughing, just very upbeat and personable. And I think this is the type of team that the jail really responds to, right? Especially that they're predominantly female. There's one male on the team, but they had an amazing night, and they shared with you, I know, a lot of stories that happened. But they did send us 2 different clips, or 3. They sent us 3 different clips. Now, 2 of them, they're going to be a little difficult to hear. So Erin has a voice recorder, but she couldn't pull the recorder over onto her laptop. So she basically just filmed the voice recorder and giving us these 2 EVPs. And then we have one from a live that they did, which is pretty wild. So which one are we going to pull up first?
Let's see. I am thinking, let's see. Okay, so I'm thinking since we're talking about Roy, let's just do the one from Roy's cell. And I know that 2 of the people who were on the investigation, the guy and the girl that was standing next to him, they're actually new investigators. And so this was one of their first investigations that they had done. And I got to say, this was the night that the flooding and the tornadoes were coming through. That seems to really affect a lot of the activity at the jail there. And as soon as I walked down to let them leave for the night, they were just, oh my gosh, the activity was off the chain. It was extremely active. So this piece right here, this actually comes from like I said, from Roy's cell. So I'll go ahead and key that up, and we'll probably just for safe measure play it twice.
It's Jake. I'm over here back by your cell. Thank you for passing that word along. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
Yeah, hit it one more time, Miranda.
Okay.
Hi, Rory. It's Jake. I'm over here back by your cell. Thank you for passing that word along. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
So if you watch the countdown clock that's on the voice recorder, you're going to hear a hi right at 44. So he says, "Hi, Roy," and then he says something else. And then right after that, you'll hear a hi. So if you
Yeah.
want to play that one more time, just watch the countdown on the recorder. When it hits 44, that's when it happens.
Yeah, and it's just right after he says hi.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Roy. It's Jake. I'm over here back by your cell. Thank you
Right
for
there.
passing that word along.
Yeah, to me, it was. I don't know if it translates as well. This is actually playing directly from my computer, so it's not playing over. I mean, it's playing directly from the streaming program.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear just like a hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
right
mean, it's
after.
interesting because Roy doesn't typically respond to mails, but it was interesting because he was actually sitting on the bed. You can hear him come in and say, "I'm sitting on the bed." So great! It's great that y'all heard that. So you're definitely going to hear the next one. The next one is actually pretty wild too.
Yeah, so from my understanding, they were on the second floor, which was maximum security very, very early on, and then later on our trustee level. And so you're going to hear them. Actually, we'll play it and then see if you hear it, and then we'll tell you what it says, and then or what we think it says, and then we'll play it again. So let me pull that up.
Do you ever get lonely?
Anybody catch it? So you're going to hear the investigator say, "Are you ever lonely?" Play it one more time, Miranda.
Oops. Let's see.
Do you ever get lonely?
I think that's pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
We heard it. They actually played this one for me right then, and that is absolutely what we heard and
Mm-hmm.
what everyone heard. So when they say, "Do you ever get lonely?" They get a voice that sounds like it says all the time. So we'll
Yeah.
play it one more time here.
Do you ever get lonely?
Whoops.
Do you ever get lonely?
Which again, there's so many things that are in that one little sentence, right? It's sad. It's incredible that it's so intelligent. Again, it's sad that he confirms that he's lonely all the time. Now, before that, on that same clip, and we didn't play it because it's just there's so much static because of the translation of recording. But they had what they call a dead bell in one of the locations, and they were talking and they were getting positive responses off the dead bell, and that's when the investigator asks, "Do you ever get lonely?" And that's just an amazing EVP, but it's par for the course for our jail.
And it's cool whenever you get two pieces of equipment that are sitting there responding, whether it be a voice and something else turning on. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And so I absolutely love this next one that
Yeah, me
they
too.
sent. Like I said, it was an extremely active night. Now, before we play the next one, I do want to make sure to mention that they were seeing some pretty incredible apparitions and shadow figures throughout the night, especially there on the second floor. In the room, in Shoestring's room, where we typically see either an arm come out and wave. I've seen that. We've had other teams that have seen it. We have also, that's the same room that we saw the shadow figure cross in front of. They actually saw, when they were standing there on the second floor, they saw a man's face look out from the door. It's like he peeped out and then he peeped in, and they yelled to whoever else was standing down the hall to look, and then the whole head popped out again. So I believe 3 people saw that. And then inside of our kitchen, the kitchen before it was used as the kitchen would have been a set of cells. And so right now we've got inside the kitchen the back room area, which would have been a storage area that's got some freezers inside of it. We now use that to store our newspaper collection. And so they had gone into the room. They weren't using the flashlight. They thought that it was a window that was there and thought that they saw somebody, a light and somebody moving. And so we currently have a big stainless steel freezer blocking the door there. So you've kind of got a little bit of a sliver there. And so 4 people actually saw a light come on in that room and saw something, a person that would have been probably around, average height of a man, walking back and forth back there, moving back and forth. And so
And there's no way to turn on a light in that room.
No.
You have to be inside that little walk-in freezer, and we've got that blocked off with the refrigerator, as Miranda said. So the fact that the light went on and they saw the apparition was pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, because that doorway too is probably, I mean, it's as wide as the freezer, the doorway is. So
Yeah.
it's probably 4 feet wide, the doorway. So anyway, so they were seeing all of that going on. But this next is actually taken from a live TikTok video from one of the ladies who was investigating there. So some people saw this actually happen on the live. Everyone was upstairs on the 3rd floor in Roy's cell area, and they heard what sounded like a bang. And then after they heard the bang, they heard a whistle down the hall. Erin, there was one lady that was downstairs in the bathroom. She heard the bang. I believe she heard the whistle, but she was not upstairs. So
and whistling is something that is extremely common inside the jail. After the footsteps, it is the second most prevalent thing that happens consistently inside the jail.
Yeah. So we'll cue that up.
This is Brad. Well, we appreciate you talking to us. Thank you. I know it takes a lot out of you to talk to us.
What was that?
Who was that?
Was that him? Was that him?
Was that you? Is that any of you?
I can't whistle.
Who was that?
Hey. Did you whistle?
Where's Aaron?
None of you whistled.
No.
None of you.
No.
No. Aaron.
It just said it heard that.
Aaron. Aaron. She is not even. Aaron.
Hold on, babe. Come.
It just said it heard that.
Aaron. She is not even. Aaron.
Hold on, babe. Come.
So I want to play just that first part again real quick, because I mean, I think that's an incredible whistle. Here's Sally.
This is Brad. Well, we appreciate you talking to us. Thank you. I know it takes a lot out of you to talk to us.
What was that?
Yeah, pretty wild. It's wild. And that, I mean, again, that's something that we hear constantly in the jail. And that's probably one of the better clips that we have of it, but it just sounds like it's right there, right? Like it's right behind, almost right behind that cell block.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and just the tune to it as well. I mean, that's very cool. Okay. Let me see what else. And then the other
it is
just, let me go to my notes here. I'm only going to pull up a few of these. The other comes from the live stream investigation that I did back on the 6th, which ironically enough just happened to be another night when we had some extremely severe, in fact, a tornado weather to the south of us that was passing through. And it was a very charged night. I know that a lot of the folks here in the chat room was on during that live investigation. So let me cue this up. If you want to say any more about it, Chris, while I cue this up, I'm only going to pull a few of the clips.
Which one are you pulling up?
My live. I mean, it's just the full live.
Yeah, no, but which clip? Like, for example, okay, so we had one where Beth Allen was on with us. And Beth is actually a great friend, but she's also a medium, a psychic, and she can pull up some interesting things, or she can sense some interesting things. And I'm sorry, Beth, if I'm kind of butchering that. But we had a tripwire. Miranda had a tripwire set up on the 3rd floor, and we get a lot of names in the jail. Obviously, the jail was in operation for 100 years, and so a lot of names are associated with it. But there are a few that stick out. Steve is not one of them. So during the live, Beth said, "Is there a Steve there?" Again, she's reading this remotely. So Steve is not one that we routinely ask for, but when Miranda did, this is the response.
Yeah. And so, let's see here. I'm just kind of queuing this here. So yeah, on this, we had tripwires and stuff set up throughout all 3 floors, decided to hit the 3rd floor. So this is the long hallway here on the 3rd floor that goes to all the different cell blocks leading to the jailer's walk. And so just kind of looking through all of this, I'm gonna play. This is a little bit of a longer session here. We went through naming different people's names that we commonly get there at the jail. It did respond to Harvey Winchester. It lit up with him. It did not at the time light up for any women's names that we named. And it did just a slight light for Jerome. So Beth, like Chris said, she called out the name Stephen, and instantly it lit up. So this is a little bit of that session right here. Is there by any chance a Steve or Stephen here with us tonight? Whoa. Okay. Thank you, Beth. Looks like there is a Steve or Stephen here. Oh, it just confirmed it. Okay, Stephen, do you want me to call you Stephen? Or would you rather me call you Steve? Light those up if you want me to call you Stephen or Steve. Okay, I'm going to call you Steve. Steve, were you an inmate? Or were you an officer? Stephen, if you were an inmate, light up the light on the floor, please. If you were an officer or maybe a jailer or sheriff, if you worked for law enforcement, touch one of the lights on the floor. Okay, all right. So I'm going to look at the board. Ah, thank you. There's a knock again. Down there in the jailer's walk. Oh, okay, so right at that point, and of course you couldn't really see it, but actually I just want to play this little section right here where I see the shadow figure or see a shadow figure. There is, and so it does respond on the tripwire. You may not be able to see this. I've got some cold chills. You may not be able to see this, but okay, here on the wall, I'm just going to walk over here. There is ambient light. You can't see it through the camera right here, but there's ambient light shining right here on the wall, right through this area right here. And when that light flashed, there was a shadow of a head and shoulders that just walked past that when that light flashed. That literally felt like electric on my legs, those cold chills.
Yeah, this third floor was really
Okay.
active that night.
Okay, so you saw. Yeah, and so right after that, we asked if that was Steven.
Mhm.
The entire tripwire lights up.
Yeah.
Now I do want to, because we were able to go through at that point and determine that Stephen was law enforcement during the 1960s and that he did work there on the night shift. And it's interesting, and I like to show this part to show that the tripwire is not just consistently going off.
Yeah.
It was only responding when we would ask certain questions.
Yeah, and
it
if you don't
respond to every question.
And if you don't know much about the tripwire, I mean, the cell phone can't set this off. This was specifically designed for paranormal investigations. So it takes a certain amount of energy to actually get these to go off. And it's not one that can be manipulated by cell phones or any other activity. And to Miranda's point, if there was any type of electricity that can set it off, it would be consistent. And it's not. So the fact that it's responsive is pretty cool.
And so I believe this is a disembodied voice saying hi. Hey, we did hear it. So we're, this is a little bit later on in that same session, went down. I wanted to see what the name of the jailer whose photo we have on the jailer's walk, just to see if that could have been him. When I passed by the federal and state cells there on the end, there's a male voice. So it is just, let me see if I can get it a little bit closer. Okay. So in about 8 seconds, you're going to hear a hey. Lit up. Okay. Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah. It was right there. That was pretty loud, actually.
Yeah, I'll play that one more time. Right when I pass that cell. Just want to make sure. Okay.
It sounds like it's right in your microphone.
Yeah, and it was right when I passed the cell where typically the where they want to jump the jailer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was another hey. Somebody trying to get my attention apparently. 2 minutes on down. It was 38 minutes and 13 seconds in. So I'm still standing there at the same side where I got the word hey. I pull up my thermal to see if we can capture anything on the thermal as it's passing down the tripwire. And it almost sounds like the same man.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I had this in front. Okay. Did you hear that? You can't really see that.
It's like it's right there.
Yeah. A lot of movement. I'm going to turn the temperature gun on and get this to show up. Of course, I had this in front. Okay.
Well,
you can't. The other thing I wanted to show. So I'm going to show, and I don't know. I mean, so while I was down on the second floor, asking different questions, the doors were slamming up on that third floor.
mm-hmm.
And so one of those specific times you hear a bang, you hear the door slam. I go up to check and see where that was. And okay, I'm going to play this in real time.
Yeah, and this is kind of interesting. It's one of those things where it was interesting enough that Miranda and I both saw it. and at the same time we're like, whoa, what was that? So I don't know if it's a trick of the
I don't
light,
know.
but it's interesting nonetheless. We'll play it in real time, and what you're going to be watching for is down at the very end of the hallway. You're going to see it almost looks like a white figure, for lack of a better term, walk in front of the jailer's walk.
Yeah, so we'll play it, like she said, in real time, and then we're going to play it in slow motion. I don't know if it's anything.
When this dropped, I want to see what door closed.
Right there. So back it up just a little bit, Miranda. Now watch at the end of the hallway.
Oops, let me try to move it here. 116.
It's going to move from the middle of the screen to the right.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, and so
I mean, to me, it looks like a white nightgown. That's or a white pant leg, and it just looks like it's just a quick one step into the jailer's walk.
yeah, I'm gonna
Right,
play it
right,
slow,
right there.
like right there. Okay, so let me pull it up in slow motion, just to see. Like I said, you never know.
Mhm. It's just a different white than the paint. I guess that's what caught our eye.
Well, and the movement is what's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, so this is going to be slow motion here.
Right there. It's like it takes. It's now it's stepped out. Wow, your footsteps sound loud in slow motion.
I know. I mean, like I said, I don't know. I'm gonna try to kind of walk this back just a little bit. It's kind of hard to walk it back.
Yeah.
Walk with slow. There it is.
There it is.
Now, obviously, we are dealing with. It's just sort of weird where it picks up, I guess.
Mhm.
And obviously, you are dealing with a.
Right there. And it's like it takes 2 steps and it's gone.
Yeah.
So it was definitely interesting enough that both Miranda and I saw it when we watched it again and independently. We're both like, wait a second, that looks the movement was different.
Yeah. So, I mean, you always it's always hard to tell because obviously we're watching something that is broadcast from, in the dark. You're dealing with pixelation, you're dealing with a lot of different elements. And that's why we always try to really scrutinize that sort of thing. So it like Chris said, it's enough to kind of catch our eye on that. Whether it's because there clearly is some pixelation in the back there from going from the dark light to the reflection there on the wall. But it's just kind of interesting that it seems to move independently from, what a reflection on the wall would look like. So I don't know. Maybe nothing. Might be something. I don't know.
And I mean, the area is consistent with stuff that we've seen and heard there. So, a white prisoner's outfit or a white jumpsuit or a like a nightgown was the first thing that I saw. But yeah, a white prisoner outfit definitely could be.
Yeah, I seem like I see a pant leg or something. And what else is kind of weird about that is the fact that if you watch the video on further right there, that cell block to the left, which would have been where that person was coming from, the door was actually closed to Jerome Boyett's cell at that point in time. So, so I don't know if they were leaving that area or if we just happened to catch someone walking by. I don't know if it's connected to the sound that was made, but there was a cell door closed, there was a bang, and then something there in the jailer's walk. So we'll be kind of breaking down that episode a little bit more on my show at 9. But the majority of all of that we were getting was to me a lot of really intelligent responses.
Yeah. And that's what we tend to get there. So if you have not investigated the jail, we would love to have you come. It runs the gambit, everything from residual to disembodied voices to intelligent responses, footsteps, whistling. And it's a great little place to investigate. A lot of people use it as their first investigation, which is kind of fun, but they leave with some really cool experiences. So, but we thank you all for watching, and thank you all for supporting what we do here at the jail and at Rugby After Dark. So thank you so much for that. And Miranda said we do have some events coming up. We will be posting those. I know we have a couple coming up in March, and so just be on the lookout for all of those. And so we hope to do more of these They Did Time series and highlighting some more evidence. I know there's 2 or 3 teams that have sent us some stuff that we just didn't get to tonight that we will that will be definitely highlighting here in the future.
Yeah, and go and check these teams out because our location is not the only place that they've investigated, and they put a lot of videos out, spend a lot of time, putting their evidence out, going through it just takes a lot of time. We're really fortunate that this past week's team actually was able to get us stuff so quick. So, so go support those. Paranormal Answers, Tennessee Shadow Chasers. You can find all of those folks on different social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, if you go and key in those names, and they've got their different evidence posted there as well. And follow on over to the Ghost Biker Garage at 9 p.m. Eastern time if you want to go over the episode a little more in depth. We'll be doing that on that channel as well. So.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for joining us. Please stay warm wherever you're at tonight, because I know it is chilly here in Tennessee. And until next week, we really appreciate it. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.